George Hansen,
Here.
Terry Doty, Jay Duroff.
Here.
Trish O'Carroll is out, Crystal Harlan,
Here.
Mark Neslucen, and Michael Haydick.
Here.
Item 2, review and acceptance of minutes of the meeting of March 4th, 2025. I have not seen those. Did
I
anybody
didn't
else
see
get
them,
them?
but I wasn't here, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 4th, 2025.
I'll second.
You didn't get them attached to the email?
No,
they
I
weren't.
didn't.
They were not attached.
It was,
I thought
I'm pretty sure they were there.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Really? I didn't get them.
No, I didn't get them.
That's bizarre.
Anyway, I am able to vote anyway because I wasn't at the meeting.
I wasn't.
Okay, so we had a
Maybe that's-
motion.
Maybe that's why we didn't get them, because we weren't.
It's been seconded. All those in favor
Aye.
of approving the minutes?
Yeah,
Those
application,
opposed?
Proposed amendment, that's it. No meeting.
Motion's carried to accept. Item 3, Chair's report. I have none.
That's it.
Item 4, Code Enforcement Officer's report.
That's interesting, Mark, because Mike just checked and he did get them, so I don't know what happened.
Nope,
I could show you.
I take it back. I'm sorry. This is February 4th, not March. 4th.
Yeah, I got the February 4th ones.
Maybe I sent you the wrong ones.
I read that.
No, I didn't get any. I mean, I've got
Okay,
I'm the same as.
agenda, I have an attachment, and I have a proposed amendment, and that's it. So,
I will look into what happened.
Yeah, sorry.
just saying.
We can always
Table it for the next one.
strike that and do it next month.
Okay, you withdraw your motion?
Well, yeah, because I
All right.
read the wrong one.
Okay, we'll withdraw that motion and we'll table that until next
But
month.
I wasn't here either, so I mean,
Oh.
it doesn't, I don't have a vote in it.
Okay, moving on to item 4, Code Enforcement Officer's report.
How'd you miss the chair's report?
There wasn't one.
Didn't have one. Didn't miss it.
I was looking forward to it.
All right, so the big news today is that the spring fountain is officially sold.
Really?
Oh, shed a tear.
So it closed today, this
Did you buy it?
afternoon. Yeah, no. So that's,
That's not nice.
that's a,
Question.
Oh, good. That's good, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
so,
It's good things.
other than that, I'm trying to think if there's any other big news. I don't really think so.
What are they gonna do, tear it down? Start over?
I really can't get into it tonight. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
There's an answer in that answer. Is that it for your report?
I think so.
Okay, moving on. 5, unfinished business.
Will we have to deal with it again in the future? Will it be a recurring situation?
Depends what they do. It's possible.
Item 5, unfinished business, none. Item 6, new business. Subdivision review, amendment to Brewer Lake, Shauna Haskins, applicant Joseph Heber. Location Merritt Drive, map 24, lot 5-3.
So this came about because this Joseph Heber, who owned lot 3, purchased that little triangular piece here from the abutter, and that land, the abutter's land, is not part of the subdivision. So they thought they were good. The problem is that lot isn't big enough to be a conforming lot on its own. It has to be attached to this lot. And if you attach the two, it changes the subdivision lot, and any amendment to a subdivision lot requires our approval. So it's very, very, very minor, but it still requires your approval and sign off.
Is there some plan for that? Or just to?
What do you mean?
I mean, they're not gonna put up a high-rise.
Oh, no, I think he wants to build a garage on there or something. He's not gonna build a house on it or anything. There's already a house on the other lot, I
Right,
think.
that's-
Isn't there? I think there's a house on the other lot.
believe he has any instructors on it.
No? Okay.
He plans on.
Plans on it. Yeah,
Another one.
so
Just doesn't seem like a major thing here.
it's not, but the assessor brought it to my attention and we looked at it. And if he ever wanted to sell it in the future or whatnot, he's probably gonna have problems. It's best to just do it right now and fix it, so.
So now he'll have more road frontage.
Yeah, that too, I suppose.
So if he wanted to make that 2 lots, he could eventually, cause it's what, 1 acre lot out there, and then he'll have more road frontage, cause he'll have, what is the total?
He wouldn't have enough shoreline frontage to do that. You have to have 200 feet of frontage,
But even if he does decide to sell it, I guess he'll have to come back and
not if he just sells the lot.
the whole lot, but I mean, if he wanted to section out another lot from
He would
that
have to
lot,
come back for an amendment.
Yeah. so.
Is that usable waterfront there? I mean, in terms of like swimming or need a dock or what?
Yeah, it's not great, but yes, there's a lot of rocks and,
No, I mean, if it was enough space to put a second like a Airbnb, verbo type of structure, rent that out.
can't.
Yeah.
One dwelling per 200 feet of frontage. Yep.
Who knows what there is for covenants in that subdivision, so.
I don't think there are any.
So,
If
Is-
there are, I don't see any on here. Single family dwelling,
so that subdivision is on is on lot 3, is in the subdivision.
yes.
Yes, okay.
Surveyor's here if you have any questions. He's the representative for the applicant.
This plan wasn't included in here.
Actually, I did find that email. That package, the plan, and the agenda were on that email. Which
Really?
was- Yeah, which was dated.
I think,
I spent a lot of time on those minutes too. I can't believe that. Because that was a long meeting and it took a lot.
Yes, it
April,
was.
the email was April 30th. I knew I saw it. But it was this package, the agenda, and the plan. I read it.
Anyone on the board have any more questions about this amendment?
No.
Are we ready to entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve the amendment?
Okay,
are you good, Mike?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I will second.
okay, moved and seconded that we approve the amendment. Do we need to do any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Amendment carried.
Thank you.
All right, I've got drawings for us to sign after the meeting. Did you want to take one with you?
I would,
Oh, okay. We won't be long.
Item 7, administrative business, none.
And actually, there is some.
Okay,
So it was pointed out after our last approval of Bruce Clements subdivision that the ordinance used to require 2 acres per lot when it's a subdivision, whereas it only requires 1 acre if it's not a subdivision. And the implication was that I had changed the ordinance without approval from the planning board or the council. So I went back and I looked, and what I found was that when I inserted all the marijuana language, and there was a lot of it, the formatting of the ordinance was kind of a mess, and so I reformatted. Didn't change language, but I reformatted. And when I did that, I accidentally took notes A and B that go under 2.4 and put them under 2.3. It's a complete accident. Under 2.3, they make absolutely no sense. But if they were where they belong, it refers you to a line where it tells you the requirements for subdivision. That line is not there. So I thought, well, that's weird. So I started looking back and back and back and back through ordinance changes, and it wasn't until 2016 that I found that line was where it's supposed to be. So when the ordinance was changed from the 2016 version to the 2017 version, that line was inadvertently wiped out. And I'm certain it was a mistake, but it was gone. So at that point, I realized that was a change, plus my mistake with the notes, that were done without any kind of approval or anything. So we've not just this past meeting, but we've approved other subdivisions that had lots that were less than 2 acres. So, I went to the town manager and told him, and I said, I think we need a legal opinion on how to handle this, because it's been 9 years since this mistake was made, and a lot of stuff's happened, and so we reached out to the lawyer. They reviewed it for a while. Basically, they said that the subdivisions that have been done, they weren't appealed. They were approved and recorded, and they're done. Going forward, we need to figure out whether we want to go back and restore the ordinance to this 2 acre per lot when it's in a subdivision versus 1 acre when it's not. Or if we want to officially put forward the change to the way it is worded now, which is if you have a lot that's 1 acre, it's buildable, whether it's a subdivision or not.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, it doesn't make sense to have 2 different standards. One for Joe Blow and a different one for the guy next door that's in a subdivision.
Yep.
I was gonna say, I'd ask why we had a 2 acre, like why the difference in the first place, but it seems to me, maybe I'm thinking you're real estate people. As a person, so a 2 acre lot, that's gonna make more expensive homes, fewer homes, right? If that's your property, if that's something a project you wanna pursue.
Mhm.
It would be more, I mean, 1 acre's pretty good size, right? So, it seems like a 1 acre lot's enough, you know.
Well, the
And if
thing-
you had, you know, you can get more
Most of
properties
them-
per land.
And they're never usually 1 acre. It just depends on the land and the land use, and the main thing is having it. Does it have a soil test on it? Can it have a septic system? And if you don't have it within an acre, then you've gotta go bigger, and you've gotta, you know what I mean? So in my opinion, as far as, it would make it very confusing. I think if anybody going forth would be like, well, now since we changed the rule back to, and then it was a small time frame where we had this 1 acre thing, plus if I wanted to subdivide my land, I would only have, I could do it or not subdivide. If I wanted to, give a lot, it could be 1 acre. So I guess to me, I don't know why we would change it back. I mean, I guess for
To
buffer
2.
wise, but if you want buffer, you're gonna find a subdivision that has bigger lots.
So I can't go back and read their mind as to what they were thinking, but my best guess was that they were concerned about density and proximity of wells and septics to each other. But in devil's advocate to that, you look at the subdivision I live in out on Jacobuck, and those lots are all like 2.5 acres each, but every one of us built within 100 feet of the road, with the exception of Paul Govin, who's probably 150 feet from the road. So it's like,
Well, I mean, I think, and as prices increase on putting a driveway in and
Yeah.
putting poles in and all that, I mean, yes, there's gonna be a select few that are gonna not, but that's up to them. Like,
So-
if they wanna sit in the back part of their field.
I mean, if you had a 10 acre parcel, you wanted to
Mhm.
subdivide it, right? There's probably almost no chance that you're going to get 10 1 acre parcels out of that, right?
No.
That would,
Right, you can't.
by that time you take out road or whatever.
you might get 8.
You might get 8.
Yeah.
So that might be, I mean, in terms of a development point of view, give you more flexibility in
Yeah.
terms of,
Might be worth it, wouldn't be worth it for 4.
right, you know what I mean? And I think increasing the housing, I think that's basically a good thing overall,
That's what the state's pushing for.
right? More, I mean, that's what I mean, in housing,
Yeah.
you know, would help the
And
community,
I think the
so.
more that we are friendly to the people that are trying to do these builds, and, that, the more people will come to Bucksport versus other towns that might be more difficult. That's my take on it, but.
Since we have a surveyor here who's done a lot of subdivisions, do you have any thoughts on lot size and other towns and?
Well, like the point is made that each subdivision in whatever area you're doing is going to warrant either 1 acre lots or 3 acre lots or 5 acre lots. To have an ordinance that says 1 acre lots if you're not subdividing, 2 acre lots if you subdivide, I think that's
Unfair, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure it's hard to get exactly 1 acre. You're gonna have you know, one that might be 1.2, one that's 1.5. I mean, you're not ever gonna have very, very often.
I don't think I remember seeing one that was exactly only 1 acre.
Yeah.
On all the subdivisions we've looked at in the past couple of years.
No, but Mike and Melissa's subdivision, most of the lots were over 2, but there were 3 or 4 that were like 1.5 or something like that. So they didn't meet the standard, the old standard, but we approved it because it met the current standard, so.
And there are still, like, I mean, there's still standards for wells and septic
Absolutely.
that have to be met,
Yeah.
right? And if you can't meet it on the whatever lot, I mean, then you have to make the lot bigger. So I don't think it's necessarily
Yeah.
beneficial to
make
keep it 2 acre, and it's just confusing.
Yeah. So our options are, and it sounds like everybody's kind of unanimously feels the same way. We're in the process of this codification project. I think I've told you about that in the past. It would probably be done by now if I hadn't had my accident. But because of that, I've been slowed up on we're in the final phase of review, and the only other thing I have to implement is I have to go through the LD 2003 language with the accessory dwelling unit stuff and make sure that our ordinance has everything in there that's required by the state law. And once I do that, they'll go through it again, make sure everything is legal and coordinated with state laws and everything jives. Then they'll send back a list of all the changes to all of our ordinances. This is not just land use, but all of our ordinances. And at least the land use portion will have to come to you guys to be approved before I can send it to the council. So my thinking is we put this change in with these other changes. I mean, we're not hiding it. It's gonna be spelled out in there, and we'll have our review, we'll have our public hearing. Then it'll go to the council and they'll have their review, 2 readings and their public hearing. And so it'll have plenty of time to be aired out by the public and everybody and officially become the 1 acre. So, I mean, most of the changes in there are, you know, they don't call it marijuana anymore, they call it cannabis. You know, it's things like that, or our definition didn't match up with the state's definition of certain things. And it's a lot of it's minor stuff, but it's stuff that we don't match the state laws, so it's confusing. So they're going through all of that, and they did find some things that I had to get answers for, things that didn't make any sense, and
So I've got a couple of questions. One, like, who caught that? I mean, you know, in 2 or B, do you need any official action from us tonight regarding this? I mean,
No,
you don't have to say who, but I mean,
it was the previous code officer.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, that's something like to recognize that.
Yeah.
Is somebody that's like pretty sharp to remember all that detail. There's so much we have to know.
And he watches all the meetings and corrects us when we make mistakes.
Okay, that's
So,
good then. But in terms of, do you need any action from us this evening?
I don't think so.
Or you just-
I
we just
wanted
wanted
to get a
kind of
feeling for how you
sound it out.
guys, I didn't wanna just do what I thought. I wanted to see if you guys thought I was going on the right track. Cause ultimately you will have to vote on this, and then the council will have to vote on it.
I think how you mapped it out is the best way to go.
Okay.
Are there, this 1 acre minimum lot size that apply to, are there multiple residential zones like R1, R2?
R2 has minimum 4 acre lot size because R2 is extremely rural areas.
Okay.
More rural areas, I guess I should say. And I think the reason there is they don't want too much density out there because it's harder for fire and ambulance and police to service those
So,
areas way off the road.
So this minimum lot
R1
size-
is typically within 1,000 feet of a paved road.
Okay.
Typically. I'm sure there's exceptions to that, but for the
So
most part, that's R1.
that 1 acre minimum lot size would apply to that R1.
To the R1,
Okay.
R2 is 4.
Okay.
Yep.
Justin?
Good.
Okay, that was all. So I apologize for my portion of that mistake, and all we can do is go forward and fix it.
Agreed.
Any more discussion needed on this right now? Item 8, limited public forum. An opportunity for the public to address the board on matters related to land use or planning in the town of Bucksport.
Got anything?
I was just wondering how long this process is going to take for other projects that come to the town. So how are you gonna handle if
Yeah,
my
I,
situation is upcoming?
so even if I wanted to do it right now, it would have to be, I'd have to advertise it, have public hearing at the next planning board meeting. I think we have to have 2 readings, so it would be 2 planning board meetings, so, and then the council has to have 2 meetings and a public hearing. They meet twice a month, we only meet once a month, so it would be a few months. The reason I'm trying to incorporate it with these other changes is because I think it's, well, first of all, with the loss of our local newspaper, it's very expensive now to advertise all of this stuff. So we're trying to combine stuff as much as we can, but also to change the ordinance and then a month later change it again just seems, if we know we're gonna do it.
We still have to have the same amount of meetings anyways, so it doesn't really.
But as far as I'm concerned, the ordinance for the last 9 years, had said 1 acre. So I think we go with that. If somebody wants to challenge that, then they can challenge that, but
And that's the way it's written currently.
that's the way it's written and that's the way it's been since 2017. The last time it said 2 acres was 2016.
Anyone else from the public have anything to bring up? Seeing none, I'll move on to the next item. 9, discussion. Anything that we haven't discussed already that we need to?
Do you have any update on any like downtown Main Street rebuild or?
The VI,
It seems like we talked about that about a year ago.
yeah, that,
And it seems like, I mean, what's happened?
well, what's happened is funding paths have changed and the state's broke. So whether we're gonna get money from the DOT, cause remember, that was a 90-10 financial split. They were paying 90%, we were paying 10%. I don't think that the 90%'s there right now, but it isn't dead. It's just kind of on hold. It was sent out for engineering after the public voted to approve it. And at least that part of it will continue to be done, and then once that's finished and it's time to fund the actual project, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So how long does an engineering plan for something like that? I mean, it's pretty extensive.
It's pretty extensive. It was, I believe, don't quote me, but I wanna say they weren't gonna be done with engineering till 26.
Oh.
And then the idea was the install would start happening in 27, I think. That was the original timeline. So I don't know with this,
I mean, I have to say, comparing us like the Searsport rebuild it looks nice done. I mean, they did
It does,
they
yeah.
really did a good job.
Yeah.
And then I come up here and I'm like,
I know, our road hasn't been paved in 20 years and we're not on the schedule with the DOT to be
I
paved
mean,
for.
the roads
I
and
hope it looks good, but that hurt a lot of businesses, I think, the whole Sears.
We're different. We've got Franklin Street and we can go around easily. They had to
I
go
guess you don't have
around.
to go 16 miles out. I mean, it was some serious detouring.
Plus, we're talking about potentially either nighttime or trying to keep, we got some things we talked about. That was definitely brought up by a lot of people. But that's on hold right now, so. Yep.
Anything else?
So power is still gonna be by utility pole along Main Street.
Yeah, that was insane amounts of money. Just to go from Mechanic Street to School Street, I think, was $4 million.
that's crazy.
And then they said they anticipated that we would have a lot of problems because those vaults,
Maybe
those
George
underground
could
vaults
help
would be
out
at the
with
bottom of the hill.
There you go.
Oh, getting all that water.
Yeah, they had
That makes
concerns
sense.
about that, so.
But not doing that is pretty much limits what you can do on Main Street. It doesn't, I mean,
They
how
were
do you
talking
change
about-
anything?
we can't rehash it all tonight, but they were talking about relocating the poles, possibly metal poles in certain areas. Obviously neatening them up. I mean, right now you got wires going here, there and everywhere. That could be coordinated and worked out better and designed better, so.
I mean, there are some towns that you don't see the poles, but I think they're servicing from the back or from other ways to get around it. I mean, I didn't, like, the ones that are not on the waterfront could be serviced from the back, but then you need to get everybody on the other side of the street connected, so. But I don't
The
know.
main goal of moving the poles was to get them out of the sidewalks, so we can get the sidewalks ADA. But if we're moving them, then we might as well make them pretty and, whatnot, maybe make them taller, neaten up the lines, but that's all down the road, so.
You have to tear down some buildings, provide some parking lot, I mean, because you're gonna go to parallel parking on both sides, I guess, or is it one side?
That may not happen, George,
Mhm.
that may not happen.
Yeah, it's a whole, we haven't got enough time tonight to discuss all of that stuff.
Any other discussion on any other items? Item last, adjournment.
Make motion.
I was gonna say, I'll make a motion, I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Do we need to discuss that? All in favor? All those opposed? Meeting over.
Texted me, see if we could hurry.
We used to have issues
Did we?
where we would issue a permit for a wetland